Welcome everyone to the OG Pod. Today I have Chloe Montgomery.
Hello.
Who's a fellow comedian here in Austin.
Yes.
So tell us everything. How long have you done comedy? How did you get on stage with Kill Tony and Tim Dillon? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, that was awesome. But I've only been doing comedy for like about 9 months now.
Nice.
I'm newer to the field, but the reason why I got into it is because I'm autistic and I had like an issue like speaking in front of people, and I have a very hard time talking to others, and so everybody's like, oh, you're so funny, you need to try it. So I think it was last May I kind of did an open mic here in Austin, and it went okay. I mean, your first open mic is not the greatest, but that's why you work on it. And then
point this straight in so that it's
straight in.
There we go. There you go.
But and then I kind of just went from there, and I think at the 6-month mark of doing comedy, that's when I made Kill Tony. It was my first time going. I've never seen the show, didn't know what to expect. It was my first time going to Kill Tony, and it was Halloween.
Such a good show.
It was a great show. I signed up, and they pulled the last bucket, and this guy went up, and I guess he didn't really end on like their... I guess
standard.
He didn't end on a good, on their standard. And so they're like, okay, well, let's do one more bucket pull. And everybody was like, oh, okay, this is crazy. And Tim Dillon was like, female. And sure enough, they called me, and I went up and I did the damn thing. So
how did it go? I mean, I saw the set. It was awesome.
it was,
Tim was dressed as Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer. I cracked a joke where I was like, oh, Amy Schumer dressed up as diabetic Kurt Cobain.
Yes.
So, it went well. My set did great. Tim Dillon loved it. I have like a segment on my Instagram of like all the stuff that he had to say about my set. And he was like, it's crazy how racist you were, but like you executed it. I loved it. And yeah, it was great. But
yeah, how do you get away with racism as a white person?
I that's the thing, they weren't expecting it. Because a tiny little female comes on stage and then drops that bomb. Everybody's like, what the heck?
Drop some bombs.
Yeah, so it did really well. Everybody loved it. I gained like a massive fan following because of it. And
how much? Like,
I gained like about 1,000 followers.
Whoa.
Yeah, and a lot of them, I got lots of good feedback. Of course, I got negative feedback. People are always trying to tear you down, but
the haters.
And I also think I was the first female drummer. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You play drums?
I do play drums.
Did you play on stage?
I did.
Nice.
Because
I didn't see that.
Yeah, because they asked. They were like, "Oh, what are you into?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm a drummer." And they were like, "Oh, you got to get up there." And I was kind of comprehensive because at the time I found out that I had a tumor, and so they were like, "Don't do any physical activity." So I was like, "Oh man." And so I did like a quick little riff, but somebody was like, "I think you were the first female drummer on Kill Tony," and I was like, "Oh well, fact check that. I don't know, but that was really cool."
And you found out like pretty right before.
Yeah, so I was getting a biopsy done before, I think it was a few days before I made Kill Tony.
And you were still able to keep it all together and just like...
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people...
Compartmentalize and...
Yeah, a lot of people kind of commented about how I look sickly. And I was like... and I couldn't address it at the time because I didn't really know, but... Yeah.
Well, that's cool that you like kept it together on stage.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun
great
time.
Set. I mean, it must have been a great set if you had that level of feedback. You have to have haters. If you don't have haters, you're not living right.
For each hate comment I got, I got like 10 plus positive,
that's awesome.
Feedback. So that was really cool. And I mean, that kind of kickstarted my comedy career a little bit.
Did you get an invite to Secret Show?
I did not. I think it's because I did get a sweatshirt though, but
okay.
But I think it's because since I was just like the last, I think he already gave out all the Secret Show spots at that point. But I mean,
you were the bonus pull.
I was the bonus pull, but I mean, I hang around the Kill Tony crew. Like a lot of my great friends are in the inner circle. I've kind of sat down with Tony. We've talked a few times and stuff like that. So it's a great crowd.
Yeah, the Nether Hour is
Nether Hour. Yeah, I'm good friends with Nether Hour. They're a big band in Austin. Joe Rogan loves them. He's shouted them out several times. They close for Kill Tony every Monday. Great group of people. There's some Kill Tony regulars that I'm
They play
friends
right
with.
Across the street from Creek as well, right?
At Empire? No, they play at Latchkey 2 nights a week and at
Oh.
Copperhead.
Oh, cool.
So, and then they do Kill Tony Mondays.
Who plays that? Is that Empire or
Empire? I don't know who plays at Empire.
I see a lot of comics there, but I've never actually gone.
Yeah, I went there for New Year's Eve, and Not the greatest
Really?
experience. Yeah, I got roofied.
What? Okay, we gotta hear whatever you can share.
Yeah, that was crazy. So New Year's Eve, I stopped at Vulcan first, and then I met up with some friends at Empire, and I don't know what happened, but I think I don't know.
Like somebody gave you a drink, or?
Yeah, I don't.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't really remember. I only had one drink that night, and it had to be that one. And then yeah, I don't remember anything. And one of my really good friends had to come and get me, and I had to spend the night at his place, and he took care of me. He's like, yeah, you got roofied. It was bad. So
How did you even like get connected with him?
I don't remember. I don't know. I think
It's the dangers of being a pretty woman. You're gonna get like people are gonna target you.
It wasn't fun, but I'm still here. Tell the tale.
Yeah. I feel like as a guy, I never think about any of that stuff. I walk out the door at like 2 a.m. and I'm like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I've had a crazy couple months, things that I've been through. So
that is a lot for a couple months. You're packing in some life.
Oh yeah,
you're packing in some experience.
There's more in there too.
Yeah, tell us. Yeah, what else?
Yeah, so I was walking to a comedy club in Austin by myself. Bad mistake. And a homeless person attacked me, tried taking my purse.
Whoa.
So I had to fight off a crackhead. That was great. Got in a car accident the day after. I got sexually assaulted at a club in Austin.
Oh my God.
Got roofied. Yeah. Crazy.
Well, it's this comedy lifestyle.
Yeah,
You're
it's
hanging out with some scary people.
Mm-hmm.
The homeless are supposed to be allies. What's going on with that?
They are brutal. Like every time I'm walking by myself, like they'll follow me.
They just
catcall. Yeah, they're just.
Do they follow you? I mean, you gotta have like some mace, maybe even like.
I have a stun gun on my.
Good.
Yeah. But they follow and they'll yell at you and.
It's so creepy when people follow you, even just like in a car.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. So I try not to walk by myself. I have a great group of friends that'll be like, I got you.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I have zero experience with any of that stuff. I'm the thing that goes bump in the night,
Yeah.
Generally. Not really. Like somebody could like do that to me, but it's just who would, right?
Yeah.
Guys have such a different experience in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like women have to think about that and be cautious and aware.
Yeah, you always got to be on your A game because it happens all the time.
You ever do any training or any kind of like, physical self-defense?
No, but I need to. I was thinking about getting my handheld license, but
That'd be a good idea.
I have like a love-hate relationship with guns. I've actually been shot.
What?
I've lived a crazy life. I was shot when I was 7.
How many lives have you lived?
I think I'm on number 9 now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a cat.
Yeah.
You keep surviving.
But yeah, I was shot when I was 7 and I've had PTSD since then. And so I haven't really built up that courage to get my handheld, but I think I should because all the stuff that I've gone through.
I have to ask how that happened.
Oh, I have a bit about this too, but okay. I was 7 at the time when I was living in an apartment complex in Temple, and these 2 older boys, I think they were 13 at the time, if I remember correctly. I think they got a hold of one of their parents' handheld pistols thinking it was a toy.
Oh.
And so I was riding my bike and they pushed me off and they're like, oh, we're going to kill you. You're never going to see your mom again. Just being butts. And then they shot me, and then it came at my ankle and grazed it, and they freaked out because they obviously weren't expecting that. Yeah. And so like I hobbled home and yeah. It was great.
God.
It was great.
Well, you have nothing to worry about tumor-wise. You're a survivor, clearly. The universe wants you here.
Well, I hope so, because, I got a bucket list that I want to go through. And
well, it sounds like you're checking items off on it.
Yeah,
like
a lot
you got Kill Tony. Mm-hmm. What are your comedy ambitions?
So I've just been doing shows right now, but I think I'm supposed to be doing a show with a Kill Tony regular. He approached me and he was like, we got to talking and I told him about this idea that I had, and he's like, no way. I've had this idea for months and I've actually been talking to a production crew about filming it. He's like, I'd love to have you a part of it. And so I need to get with him and kind of talk about it, because I think what I know is that we're going to start filming February, and it's going to do well. I can't really go into details about it to like disclose. Is
it like a sketch or like a show?
It's like a show.
Cool.
It's a show, and I believe Tony Hinchcliffe is funding it.
Whoa.
From what I don't really know. I don't know the details as of right now, but I don't know if that's still going or if they put a halt on that. So I need to get with him, but it's going to do phenomenal because everybody loves.
Can you tease us a little bit with ideas? Just give us a hint of what's to come?
Paranormal, comedians, results may vary.
Yes, I'm already into it.
So we'll see. I'll have to get with him and see if that's still going, because it's going to do well and everybody loves.
Well, his show is such a good example of what's possible if you like are really consistent, because he's been at it like a decade.
Yeah.
Like a decade.
Yeah.
And easily the best, smoothest show in Austin.
Yeah. I mean, everybody loves Kill Tony. I mean, there's a huge fan base following around it. And, you know, I've seen people get on there and, you know,
you can go both ways.
Yeah. And then you have like some comedians that get on there and their careers are skyrocketing. So.
I always say this. I really appreciate his format, because 1 minute is enough to do some damage, but it's also like anyone can like stumble through a minute, and then anyone can listen to a bad limit or minute without like hitting their limit of, you know, like getting bored or whatever. And so, and then he's pretty good at like roasting and keeping the...
He is the roast king. So like I hang around with that crew, and like on Mondays we normally after Kill Tony we'll like go out and party and stuff. And he shots fired.
Oh yeah.
All night long, like Lionel Richie. He just... I
feel like that would sharpen you up. You'd be on your toes.
Yeah, no, I mean he's came at me a few times. Me and the guy that I hang out with, Miles. He's roasted us a good couple times, and I'm just like, oh man,
yeah,
it's great. It's honestly so great.
It's a muscle that he's built, like Tim Dillon, the rant muscle. Tony has built the roast muscle over all of these years of putting on his show. And yeah, it's cool. It just shows you, like, in comedy, entertainment, however you want to think of it, like consistency is so important.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's only going to go up from there. And I mean, plus Joe Rogan, his new club's opening soon. That'll
be cool.
I think it's opening on the 6th of
February, or
maybe, if I'm not mistaken. I kind of was talking to some people about that last night at Kill Tony, and
I'm really excited to see.
Oh yeah, it's going to be, I think he's wanting that to be kind of like the Comedy Store from LA. So
we're going to have a couple good hangs, because we already have Creek, we have Vulcan, and then we'll have Mothership. Yeah. So it's just, comedy is just growing here, and it's great. Okay. So let's talk about ghosts, paranormal, and aliens.
Oh, okay. So I actually used to be a paranormal investigator.
What?
Yeah. And
people investigate it? No, I know they do.
So I actually used to do that. I worked with a group, and we traveled around like Central Texas, and our main focus was demonic cases. So I've got some stories and some tales, and I love all that stuff, the occult and aliens, and I'm
really interested in it. Yeah. Like, I think it's really cool.
Oh yeah.
Now, I grew up Mormon.
Okay.
And so I have like this really religious background. Full disclosure, I don't really believe in any of it anymore, but
that's how I am. Yeah.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
So what kind of like demonic stuff have you like been involved with or whatever?
Oh, man, there was one case that I did in Waco, and
if anything was going to happen, it's going to be in Waco.
Waco. Yeah. This case was crazy. This is the first time I got attacked, and we were on site in one of the buildings, and we were doing a EVP session, or a spirit box session, and we had some stuff coming through asking for like a sacrifice.
What's a spirit box?
So a spirit box is a device that scans through radio frequencies, and it creates like white noise, and it's so fast paced that anything that comes through is supposed to be, you know, like a spirit, because there's no way, you know, anything from like a radio station can come through. So
it picks up frequencies.
Sound frequencies from radio stations, and it just goes at a rapid pace.
Yeah, I really do want to believe all this stuff. I really do.
Yeah.
And there's no way that science can disprove it.
No, yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I am too, like trying to prove if, you know, whatever is out there,
it's all
if it's
unprovable, but like there are phenomena, first of all.
Oh, like,
for people
sure.
experience things.
Oh, I've experienced some things, and I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. But
okay, sorry, I interrupted.
No,
so
you're
you
perfectly
were the spirit
fine.
box.
Yeah, but the spirit box, we had a session go on, and there was like something coming through asking for like a sacrifice, like a dog sacrifice, and one of our mounted cameras got picked up and thrown across the room. Clear as day, I saw that. That was crazy. And then green orbs flying around, you could see. Everybody saw that.
Did you get it on camera?
Yeah, I believe we did get it on camera. I don't have the files. The main guy has that. But
did he publish it to YouTube or anything, or what were you guys doing with the show? or the investigation?
We just so with the investigation, somebody called us in to investigate this property, and so we film like for them, and then sometimes we'll take those clips and post them on like YouTube or TikTok. I don't know if he posted that video or not, but after all that happened, I was standing in the middle of the room. I had 2 sweatshirts on. I wasn't against anything, but there was some nasty stuff coming through the spirit box. And one of my investigators started to pray quietly, and I had no idea. And I just felt like somebody put out a cigarette on my lower back. And I was like, oh, yep, it got me. And I lifted it up, and there was a huge X mark on my lower back. Whoa. Yeah.
Did it leave a scar?
It didn't leave a scar, but it was like red and irritated for like a good day or 2.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So that was pretty wild.
How did you not publish the footage? You got to publish the footage.
Well, they have control of all of that. I was just an investigator, so I don't know what they did with that footage or not, but they have so many cases that, you know.
Now, what, yeah, like, anyway, well, when I was going through my crisis of faith, one of the ways that I tried to determine if there was a God was by summoning the devil. I was like, let me try to summon the devil for real. Let's just have a conversation with him.
Yeah, whip out the Ouija board, guys.
Like maybe he's a good guy. We don't know.
Saturdays are for the boys.
Yeah. Let's hang out with the devil, see what he says. And so anyway, I tried. I looked up some runes. I looked up some curses and hexes and the symbols, and I tried to draw it all. I was going so far as like to use like real animal blood, but you know, I didn't get that. Well,
you were committed. You were commit to the bit.
Well, I mean, I didn't actually go that far, but I think if I was to try again, you know, maybe I go one level more.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But I mean, I'm on the same boat as you. I grew up religious.
He didn't show up though.
Yeah, he sends his little buds, but
I wish I had even, you know, like a demon or whatever. I want to be haunted. I really want to be haunted. Not by people, God, by ghosts.
Yeah, we can make that happen. We'll have to take you on an investigation or something.
I love that.
That'd be so fun. But like I'm on the same boat as you. Like I grew up religious and now I'm not religious, but you know, I've experienced some stuff with the paranormal where I'm like,
yeah, my big thing with science is I was talking about this with Dan yesterday. You know, these scientists, they always say things like, we know this, we know that.
Yeah.
They don't know shit. Science was invented like 100 years ago. 200 years ago at the most. You know, it's not okay. It's been around maybe like 500 years.
Yeah.
But it's a new technology for determining the truth. The first one was religion. We all want to understand what's going on. We want to understand reality.
Yeah.
Then science is kind of like the next iteration of that. And I'm really annoyed when scientists proclaim anything as fact, because it's always changing and they're always discovering new things. I do think that we have some things that we more or less know that we've discovered, like math, physics, chemistry, biology, that kind of stuff. But when they come and they say, ghosts are impossible, aliens are impossible, all these things are impossible. It's like, you don't know that. Nobody can prove that.
Yeah.
Just like nobody can prove what happens after death.
Yeah.
Nobody can prove any of this.
Yeah. And I mean, like how I see it too is that we're all made up of energy. And I feel like spirits are made up of energy. You know, everything's made up of energy. So I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand. But like you said, nobody knows. And that's why people go out and they investigate. They try to find the answers. But, you know, I feel like we're never fully going to get the answers.
Yeah. Like, and if it is, it'll be 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah. When technology is too advanced to function. So
we should just enjoy the mystery.
Yeah. That's part of life, you know?
Yeah.
Question.
So what else is on your bucket list?
Ooh, I want to travel to Japan. That's number one.
That's cool.
I love Japan.
Like anime culture or Japanese?
Yeah, both.
That's all very cool.
I collect like Kokeshi dolls and stuff like that.
What are those?
They're like little wooden handmade dolls, and the craftsmanship is just impeccable. I love it. It's like an art form. So I have a good 20 dolls. But yeah, I just love the Japanese culture. That's number one on my bucket list. I'd like to travel to some national parks around the U.S. Yosemite is a big one that I want to go see.
Where else would you travel besides Japan?
Probably Greece, because I'm cool. Greek.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you look Greek.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can tell, but I can.
It's the curly hair. No, but I'd like to kind of go there and just, you know, see where my ancestors are from.
What's in Greece? It's all like the marble statues, the Michelangelo and
they got like the temples that were dedicated to, you know, their gods, the Greek gods and goddesses. They have the architecture there is just profound and beautiful. I mean, that's where democracy was started.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's just a beautiful country.
And then didn't the Romans copy Greece and they like basically adapted it in their own way?
Yeah.
They're like, we'll make up all the same gods. We'll just call them different names.
Yeah. So Greeks and Italians.
Oh, they did the same.
We butt heads, but yeah, they kind of stole a lot of.
To me, they're the same. Like, where is the Colosseum? I guess it's in Rome.
Yeah,
Where's the Sistine
Rome.
Chapel? Is that also in Rome, actually?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I want to go to Rome.
Rome is beautiful, too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Italy is a gorgeous country, but I don't know. Motherland Greece is just...
Is that where they have, like, that classic, beautiful white buildings with, like, the blue...
yeah, that's... I believe that's in Santorini or Mykonos. Mykonos, yeah.
Yeah. The islands.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to see.
I would love to see that. In Athens, because my ancestors, they were poor and they lived in the mountains around Athens, and so that'd be kind of cool to go back and.
I really like that mythology. Zeus.
Yeah.
And whatever, all the pantheon of gods.
My god is Apollo.
Oh yeah. The sun god. What do you like about Apollo?
That's just who I was assigned to. They're just kind of like a family thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have like certain Greek goddesses and gods that they'll worship. The families will worship, or they'll integrate and worship several and just stuff like that. So.
Oh.
Apollo is one of ours.
Huh. Yeah, that would be pretty cool to be able to like have a god that you worship.
Yeah.
I like Apollo. So his job is to make the sun rise.
So he's the sun god of poetry and music.
Poetry and music.
They all have like several little things.
Yeah.
That they,
I wish I understood them more.
I really don't know. I just.
Well, it's interesting because we have all of these different like ways to classify people, and these days we have scientific method to like use statistics to try to be like it's like the big five, or the what is the other one that people use, INTG.
Oh yeah, the personality.
Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
And those are like more like based off of like modern statistics. But then you have like really interesting ones like astrology.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a Gemini, I'm a Taurus, you know?
Yeah, astrology is really big. And I have a few jokes where I kind of shit on.
Well, what's your sign?
I am a sun in Virgo. My moon is in Taurus and my rising is Aquarius.
Holy shit, you know a lot of it.
I know.
The only word I knew was Taurus.
I know a lot because my grandmother is real big into it, and my mom. So I kind of grew up around all that.
And you don't believe in it at all, or?
I know it. I feel like it does kind of play into who you are. I mean, the thing that people kind of just, they're like, oh.
They take it so far. They make it like it's going to predict everything.
Yeah, like I've seen stuff where it's like, oh, you're stubborn, this and that. That's a Taurus. I mean, anybody can be stubborn. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. But there is a website where you can like search your natal chart and it like gives you like a full scan. Like I'm talking like essay about who you are as a person. And I did that and I read it and I was like, okay, that's kind of creepy.
I've done those too.
That's pretty spot on.
The apps where you can like match with someone.
Yeah.
And then it like shows you like where you're compatible or anti-compatible. What is that word? Those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they do seem to relate somehow.
Yeah.
Like they don't seem like totally disconnected.
Yeah. I mean, like that
reality.
That essay that I was going through, like there was like one segment where it was like, you're into the occult, like supernatural stuff, this and that. I was like, geez, like, is the government like listening through my phone or something? Like it was crazy how detailed it was about like, and I was like, that's me. That's
sometimes
cool.
I do feel like we're in some kind of like experiment or VR game, or I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
big game of The Sims, just
something. Is it really just like monkeys on the planet? We just evolved from monkeys. Like, can that be true? Like a fish walked out of the water and now we're here making a podcast. Like
here we are.
Yeah. What's like a summoning charm for a ghost? Or I guess it wouldn't be a charm. It'd be a hex.
There's like different stuff that you can do to summon. I know like people use Ouija boards. There's like different methods to summon.
I played with a Ouija board.
Yeah, but I just like going to haunted locations and just kind of.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
That actually, speaking of like we're all energy and stuff, I would believe that if something like really crazy went down in like, you know, especially like a lot of things went down, like a mental asylum, or like, you know, just Auschwitz is coming to mind. Like a lot of like crazy, terrible shit happened in one location. Seems like there could be some residue.
Yeah, because I mean, we're always, you know, putting our energy out and energy imprints on stuff. And so that's like a theory with the paranormal is like a lot of these places, you know, like mental hospitals, battlefields, stuff where a lot of stuff happened, that energy imprints. And then after you're gone, you know, your energy is still kind of lingering, and that's what causes these paranormal phenomenons. And
I would believe.
Yeah, and I've been to some insane asylums. I've been to some battlefields and some really harsh places. And
where else would like things? Where else is like the dark spirits? Where do they get concentrated?
It honestly depends. Maybe it depends on location. Prisons are a big one.
They always say Native American burial lands.
Yes. Yeah, but that's more so.
But that seems like less scary and more like religious.
Yeah. So I mean, the Indians, because I'm Cherokee Indian, they are very, you know, spiritual, and we've had some cases where, you know, people will go and like mess with the land, or they'll like take stuff from the land, and then they get like cursed or something. They're very it's a whole other ball field. But I just.
Well, it could happen. The thing that I think could be real with astrology is if everything in the universe is connected, and we know that's true through gravity. Even we have these new detectors that can detect gravity. They detected like these 2 black holes that like had this collision event. I think it was a merger event actually. And like, you know, billions of years ago, and the waves travel through space and time, wash over the earth. And as that's happening, our bodies and minds and lights and everything is being distorted in real time by these waves of gravity. So you're telling me that that's possible, but then Jupiter can't have an effect on the planet? Like the moon can have an effect on the seas, and it can pull the tides in, and that's not going to have an effect on like a fetus. I don't know. To me, everything's connected. The whole thing is like one matrix of energy, and we've barely begun to describe it.
No, I'm on the same boat as you.
So I don't discount any kind of astrology or any of that stuff as like, I think part of it is trying to like categorize and understand people. Speaking of like, I like the joke you had in your Instagram. I'm just exploiting my autism.
I do comedy not because I'm funny. I just do it to exploit my autism.
I think a lot of comics do that. I mean, you got to be able to like stand on a stage and like, you know, do your thing.
I feel like a lot of comedians are either like autistic, they have like trauma, some past trauma.
What makes a comic?
A lot of comedians either have dead parents, suffer from anxiety or depression, they're autistic. I mean,
are there any like just normal ones? I feel like the normal ones get
I don't
offended.
think I've ever came across some normal comedians. They got something going on. There might be a handful out there, but for the most part, we all
I'm a drug addict.
Hey, it's fine. You don't have to lie to kick it.
I don't have any desire to kick it. But there's something that makes a comic. There's something that sets them apart where they're like, not only am I wanting to go on a stage, I can go on and withstand the judgment. Yeah,
that's a big thing too. You got to be able to know how to work that, because a lot of people who are starting out, they don't realize that comes with the game. You know, you're going to get heckled. People are going to, you know, they're going to judge you, roasting, you know, you got to learn how to deal with that. If you can take it and diss it, then you're set. But there's a lot of people out there that can't take it, and then they just the best if you can take it, turn it into something, and then give it back. But at least you got to be able to take it, because like if you're putting yourself out there, you have to accept that that's part of the game. And I think that there's only one way to like build that armor, and that is through experiencing it. You know, you just bomb until you don't feel anything anymore. You bomb until you don't feel. I need to put that on a shirt. All the feelings are numb now. That's great. Yeah, and that's kind of why I love banana phone at Creek in the Cave. I still have to try it. Oh, it's so fun. Yeah. So that's a heckle mic. You do a minute. You do your jokes for a minute, and then the crowd, they just can, after like they ring a bell, crowd can just go in. They'll heckle you, they'll roast you, and then that's kind of how you learn to like,
stay sharp or
stay
like
sharp,
come up with
just
stuff.
Sit back, take it.
And it's all like great material.
Yeah.
They're going to have,
they're writing tags for you. It's phenomenal.
So, it's like an improv mic. It's like a tag mic kind of.
Yeah. So I love going to that. It's always great to kind of, just mess with people, see how they do. And you'll see some comedians just kind of.
Sometimes I wonder like what my own motivations are to do podcasting and comedy and any of this stuff. I think podcasting is like pretty straightforward why I like it. I love talking to people.
Yeah.
I mean, captive audience. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
And so with comedy, it's a little different. But first of all, when are you ever going to like get even the chance to be a rock star with your voice?
Yeah.
Right? Like there's no other opportunity. You got to be really good at playing guitar or you can come up with jokes.
Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of like why I like doing comedy too, is because my comedy is a little more edgy, a little more darker. And I like to joke on things that people don't really consider to be a joke. I try to find things that I've been through that I can make relatable for other people and just kind of find, that comedic way of expressing it so people can be like, okay, well, is it okay to laugh at this? Can I laugh at this? Okay, I will laugh at this. But if
you've made a really good joke, like they can't help it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've got a few jokes where, I mean, I've had some jokes do very, very well. And then I've had some jokes where people are like, I don't know if I can laugh at this or not. And I've been heckled. Or I haven't been heckled, but I've had some people in the crowd make some nasty remarks. And I was like, look, you paid to be here.
I already won.
Yeah, it's like you paid to be here. Like if this is a comedy show, I don't know what you were expecting. If you don't like it, then you need to leave. I mean, simple as that. But
sometimes people in the audience want to, heckle just because they actually want to be on stage. They feel like they got shit to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then they're not like ballsy enough to actually get on the stage.
Or they're just unhappy with themselves, and they just kind of, because I had a thing where I joked about suicide, and this lady was like, oh, that's not funny, my brother killed himself. And I was like,
you can't hear suicide, you're at a comedy club. That's half these open micers.
Right. That's everybody here is trying to kill themselves. So like
that's what comedy is. It's one slow suicide.
Yeah. So I don't understand
I'm just kidding about that, but
no. I mean, you're not wrong, but I just don't understand why people they attend these events.
Yeah, like why would you attend an event and then complain about the
I don't know. It's
content?
Whatever. Just people are going to always
But there's a comic for everyone out there, right? There's very clean comics.
Yeah.
And I don't know
how. I don't know how they do it. I can't do PG-13. I can't.
For me, if somebody was like, you can't swear, you can't talk about, I'm not even interested then. Like, I just want to do whatever I do and not worry about it.
I mean, I've cussed a lot just in the span of 40 minutes we've been talking or so. I cuss like a sailor. So
nice gauge of time.
Sick. It's the autism. I'm good with numbers. No, but yeah, I just I curse like a sailor. My material is not clean whatsoever. I've tried to write clean material and I can't. It's not who I am. So I've been asked to do some PG-13 shows. I'm like, no.
Well, I think a lot of the art part of anything creative or entertaining that you're trying to express is a lot of your past experiences and trying to understand them and incorporate them and make them, I don't know, there's something healing about it. Not healing. There's something therapeutic about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of helped me a lot, kind of, deal with the stuff that I've been dealing with in my life. And I try to make that relatable for other people. And hopefully that can be a therapeutic outlet for them as well, to
people
laugh
get annoyed when I say that though. I've definitely annoyed comics where when I compare it to therapy, I'm like, look, you're double dipping. If you're going to a therapist and you're using the audience as a therapist, how much help do you need?
Yeah.
You're going to say all your shit on stage and then to another, anyway. But there's something therapeutic about it. It maybe just, for some people, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's very therapeutic for me, at least. I can't speak for everybody. I don't know, the reason why other comedians do what they do.
It would be interesting. What is the reason that people get into it? So, they have trauma, they have whatever it is.
Yeah, because I did it just to build up my confidence in speaking and kind of learning how to interact with people. Too. Yeah.
And then people say, why don't you just do Toastmasters? Because then I can't say wild shit.
Yeah. I like that wow factor. I like shocking people. They don't expect it coming out of me. And so when I drop that bomb and everybody's like, whoa. It's like, okay, nice.
And if you can drop like a bomb that, I don't know, like is a true bomb, and you can make it in a way that is light and funny and interesting, or, you know, somehow just make it, even interesting, I'll take that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of different humors. Like some people go out and they juggle, you know, I'm not interested in that. Respect it if you can do it, but I don't want to make people laugh so much as I'd rather make somebody think than laugh. So I don't know if I am a comedian in like the most traditional, like comedians are always like, I only care about making people laugh. To me, the joke is all that matters. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, no, I mean, don't care about that as much as you.
I mean, you got to connect with the audience. I mean, there's a lot of factors that play into it, and
but like they make it like the highest virtue is like, I don't know, like I guess it is, maybe like another virtue. Like I watched Jimmy Dore at Creek, and he was just ranting and riffing, and it was like political and you know, like his topics, and I was like, that's what I want to do. And it was funny, but it wasn't jokey, and it wasn't like the hamburger stroll down the road, you know, like it was like very much more he was like pissed off about things and he wanted to talk about it on a stage.
And I mean, and then you have like comedians like Casey Rocket. And he's my gosh.
I mean, his energy is so great.
The first time I saw him, I got so overstimulated. I was like, what is happening? But like every time I watch him, I just fall more in love because he is phenomenal at what he does. And every time I see him perform, the crowd doesn't, you know, they're always on their toes. They don't know what to expect. And I think that's like the it factor with Casey's style of comedy. And he just does it so well. And that form of comedy, you really don't see a lot of that nowadays. I think Casey's like one of the only people in Austin that does like that form of comedy. And he's going to go places for sure. I mean, he's already going places, and I'm very excited to see what happens because every time I see him,
well, he's a good example of somebody who I feel like is the opposite of me, but does it really well, in a way that I'm always entertained. I've never not seen him perform and been like bored, you know?
Yeah, it's like unhinged prop comedy on ketamine. It's just like, it's so many wonderful things.
I mean, I'm not even going to try to imitate him, but he's got like the rant improv thing, but it's all part of a framework, and it's all part of like...
He's got a system down of how he executes it, and I don't know how.
I got 2 shots of COVID in my eyes. I'm seeing 2020.
This is a picture of me in a grimace.
He just looks. I mean, he just had like his he's got a great style, and his energy. Is fantastic.
Like top 5.
But it's entertaining, is what it is.
It's very entertaining, and I love watching the crowd when he goes up because like people are just like, did that happen? Like they're processing what's happening. They don't know what, you know. And
he goes like for like 20 minutes at a time, or however long he goes. 40 more minutes. We're just getting started. You know, that kind of stuff.
Lock in, people. We got another hour and a half. He's great. He's one of my faves, and his style of comedy is just 700 chef kisses.
Yeah, he's gonna do well, I feel.
Oh yeah, he's already.
I wonder how you even like go and start developing that persona, that character.
Because that's the thing. And a lot of people, because like I know Casey and I've spoke to him like outside, you know, outside of his gigs.
Can be very chill.
He's a completely different person.
Completely
different person.
Well, you see him on podcasts and stuff. I mean, he's funny, and he's got like, you can see there's a direct path to that same energy.
Yeah. But if you just talk to him, like, you know, on the patio at Vulcan, he's just calm, cool, collected, so sweet, so down to earth. And then on stage, he's just whipping it out. I'm like, all right, cool. We're here. Let's party.
So comedy influences. Who do you like? No, like medium, middling comics. Names we would all know.
Names that we would all know. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, don't give anyone support who's struggling.
I love Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah.
Mitch Hedberg, Bernie Mac. I don't know. I
he
feel
died
like
so young.
He did. He really did.
He was like 40s.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. I don't really have any comedy influences. I mean, my stuff is just real edgy and dark, and I just kind of do my own thing. But Austin wise, I love a handful of comedians here, like William Montgomery.
Oh, of course.
My cousin.
The Big Red Machine.
My cousin.
Is he your cousin?
No. Well, I don't know. We kind of got to talking, and both of our families are from Tennessee. So, and maybe you don't come from, you know, Montgomerys they're uncommon. So I was like, we gotta get a DNA test going.
Oh.
Oh no.
It's fine.
But I love him. He's got this one joke that it cracks up every time he says it. He's like, what's the difference between Democratic Party and the Taliban? I don't donate money to the Democratic Party. And every time he does that, I just die. He's something else. His energy is just...
Yeah, he's another example of somebody who has a great amount of energy.
Yeah, and I mean, he's been doing this for years, too. And, you know, he's Kill Tony regular, and he's got the show with Casey. They have a talk show together, or a podcast, and he's just so sweet down to earth. Love him. That's one of my favorite Austin comedians, so...
Yeah, he's really good. Who else?
I love Casey Rocket. Oh, what's that other one?
Who are all the Kill Tony regulars? We got Hans Kim, William Montgomery.
So Hans Kim, William Montgomery, David Lucas.
Oh, David Lucas.
Uncle Laser just became one. He's not like an official like regular, but he kind of is a regular. He comes on when he can. He's one of my really good friends. Love him to death. God, he's crazy. Who else? Those are the main ones, and then they'll like bring on like some other people. I'm horrible with names, but I love Hans.
You meet so many people and stand up, like, and everyone's traveling and like, but it's kind of the cool thing is like anytime you're traveling, you're likely to bump into someone. Yeah. Especially if it's to a place that you go frequently.
But I know Hans and Uncle Laser very, very well. Love Hans to death. He's great. I actually just was at his house playing Mario Party and Mario Kart, so he's very artistic as well.
Yeah How is he artistic? He
autistic.
Plays autistic. I would believe it.
I shit on him all the time about that, but he's like one of those people where you'll sit down with him and he'll just be like, so what are your thoughts about the war on Ukraine? I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine, let's talk about that. He's just his questions are just out there, and I'm like, Hans, I can't process this right now. Yeah,
no, he's a great comic. Yeah,
and I mean, it's crazy how his path just kind of, living in his van, and then now he's touring and headlining at huge places and doing shows with Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan. It's wild.
Yeah, good for him. You get you have to put yourself in the right place and do all the right things and be prepared and then get lucky.
Yeah, and I mean, we actually had a conversation too where he asked me, he's like, so what are your goals with like comedy? And I told him, I was like, look, I just do this because it's a hobby, because I have fun. I don't care if I make it big. I don't, I just I'm sitting back, I'm doing my thing and seeing what happens. And he's like, oh, well, shouldn't you always strive for success and greatness? I said, not necessarily.
That's the Asian in him.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a little Asian in me. I can say shit like that. Yeah. I got a little Jew, a little Asian.
Racist. No.
Racism.
But
it's back. Kanye 2023.
Our Lord and Savior, Kanye. But I told him, I was like, not necessarily. Like, I could care less, I just do this for fun. This is a hobby. Whatever happens, happens. I'm here for the ride.
I think it has to be. I mean, I think you should always, like, try to improve. But in the process of improving at something, you're naturally going to get the outcomes. Yeah. It's like trying to be rich. That's not the best way to go about life.
Exactly.
Produce something that's really valuable. Natural consequence of that will be wealth.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be wealth in relationships or in whatever, different things.
Yeah. I mean, you talk to so many comedians like that are just starting up, and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to get on Kill Tony. I'm going to make it big. I'm going to, success and travel. And I was like, look, you need to calm down, because there's a handful of new comedians that follow me, and they ask me for advice, and I take them to open mics and stuff. And I spoke to one. I was like, so what are your goals? Like, why do you want to do comedy? And they're like, oh, well, just literally started like a month into comedy. They're like, I want to go and Kill Tony like right away. I want to make it big. I want to travel, money. I was like, look, that's not how it works. I was like, you gotta
go get a tech job if you want all that.
Right? I was like, comedy doesn't really pay the bills unless you're like, up there.
Right.
But I was like, lower your standards, start small, go to open mics, work on material, find out your niche, go from there. If you want to do Kill Tony, I recommend you do open mics for a while, and then.
But how much can you learn from performing in front of other comics?
You can actually a lot, because I feel like the comedians here, they are so wonderful at giving feedback.
Some of them can be.
I mean, there's only been just a few comedians that I've came across where I was like, your vibes are not it. But for the most part, a lot of people here are very supportive. They give good advice. They help you. They want you to succeed. That's not the case for everybody, but
of course.
Yeah, I've been to several open mics where people come up and be like, oh, a great tag for this would be this. Use it if you want. And I was like, oh, awesome, sweet. And they'll give you advice like, hey, slow down, move the mic stand. When you do this joke, this is how you need to deliver it, punch it up, stuff like that.
So what do you think are the key lessons for new comic, things that they should
I feel like you need to sit down, kind of figure out what form of comedy you want to go with. Do you want to do something dark? You want to do something more lighthearted? Kind of figure out your niche, write some material according to that. Go to open mics, practice makes perfect. That's what open mics are for, to test out new material, kind of see where you need to go from there, get feedback, build up that confidence. And then if you want to do something bigger like Kill Tony, then why not? But I feel like you need to kind of...
It's so much time.
Yeah.
It's like 3 hours per mic.
Yeah.
Especially if you're commuting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of these YouTube comics? Do they count? Like, they're never actually performing on a stage, but they get 1 million views per video or whatever.
It's a different thing. If their material makes people laugh.
But we don't see them laughing. Maybe they're laughing in the comments.
Maybe. Yeah. That's the thing. That's the hard thing, because you have comedy movies.
There's tons of forms of comedy. A comedy podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's different forms to it. But the YouTube comedians, it's very hard to say. If...
So we have stand-up, we have movies, we have podcasting. Mm-hmm. What are the other forms of comedy?
Music. You can do comedy through music. I know some comedians that their main focus is music. They'll go up with a guitar, they'll do a little song, make a little, funny song. And
I feel like Steve Martin can do it, nobody else. He's the only one.
Yeah, you can, their art, you can make art funny if you want.
Really?
You can.
Know. Is it possible? Maybe somebody can.
Yeah. That's the thing. Everybody is going to find the humor in something, if it's YouTube.
Well, what are the fun and interesting ways? The stand-up is fun because you're like getting all the juices from the audience, all the energy in the room.
It's more interactive.
And it's live and interactive.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like people enjoy that aspect more with comedy, like going and being in front of somebody and kind of, it's an experience.
Yeah.
So...
And podcasts are fun because it's like the same thing as being in the back where the comics are hanging, mm-hmm. and they're just talking about whatever.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of people who love podcasts for that very reason, because they're like, oh, I've watched like 3 episodes of this podcast. I feel like I know these people. And I think that's the thing about podcasts that people like, is that it's so, personal. You're just talking and people feel like they know you through that. But you can also make podcasts, fun and lighthearted. And yeah.
It'd be cool though to like do a remote podcast where you're just like hanging out with comics, even like the mm-hmm. upstairs of the Vulcan, get everyone mic'd up, get all those conversations, a 360 cam, where you get like 4 or 5 people, maybe even like a big circle.
Uh-huh. And that's funny that you say that, because with my podcast that I'm starting up right now, I want to do that. I want to do a segment.
That's cool.
What are
you thinking for your podcast?
So my podcast is called Austin City Losers.
Nice.
And it's going to have like comedians. I want artists on there, musicians, just every walk of life. And it's going to be more comedy, based, since, I do comedy here in Temple, and I have a handful of people that would be on that. But yeah, I kind of want to do like a studio sit down where we just kind of like talk, shoot the shit. And then I want to do like some stuff where it's, comedians in a room, mic'd up, kind of just...
whatever
improv,
flies. Yeah.
Have fun conversations. Let's see what we can get out of it, because
definitely good stuff.
It's a fun aspect.
It's the best part of talking to comics is they can talk.
Oh yeah, and talk and about crazy things. Yeah.
And they want to talk over each other, and they want to interrupt, and they want their thing to be said. Mm-hmm. And half the time they're not even listening.
It's fun.
I listen. I try to listen.
Yeah, it's great, and it's so funny too, because like a lot of the people that I hang out with, like our fan base is the same. And so like when you like hang out with these people, like they notice, because literally today I got a DM from a fan that said, so how did that threesome go with Hans Kim? Backstory. The episode of Kill Tony that just released yesterday, Hans had a skit where he talked about having a threesome. Okay. That same night, that's the night that I went over to his house and we played Mario Kart. So it was me, another comedian, And then it was Hans. And I posted a picture of us on the couch with our remote controllers. And I was like, oh, we out here smashing bros. Because we played Smash Bros. This fan is following both of us and remembers that we posted that, and then saw the Kill Tony last night about that threesome bit. And so
so how was a threesome?
And so I was like, oh my God, it's crazy. You just, how...
Yeah, like the overlap between different communities.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, and I mean, you get that with like conversations, and you get that through social media, and it just always baffles me. Like, oh yeah, that's,
Yeah. I mean, that's another cool thing about like Austin being like this burgeoning city for comedy.
Yeah,
it's going to attract people that are fans of comedy.
Oh yeah,
and they have no desire to perform. They don't even want to do a podcast. That is the thing that somebody said to me, where they were like, not everybody wants to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to go on a stage and like have their words be heard or whatever. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean,
I think a lot of people do though.
And the fans too, they follow you. I mean, I've had fans show up at shows, open mics, just to be there for me. And I've made some really good friends with my fans because And so we'll hang out and, the kind of just vibe. But I mean, I'm pretty chill. Like, I've had every person that has slid into my DMs and comment about my comedy, like, hey, good job, this and that, I always message them back.
That's cool.
Saying thank you. And I try to create relationships with my fans. I think that's important,
Well, if somebody's like invested in you and they're invested in your work, like, you really want to, I don't know, appreciate that as much as you can.
And I really do. Because I mean, I have like an Amazon wish list, and one of my fans bought over $200 worth of material for my podcast. They bought me a mixer. They bought me a mic.
Nice.
They bought me a headphone set. And they were like, I want to see you start this podcast. And I was like, all right.
I like supporting creators.
Yeah.
Like, I'll buy their merch. I'll buy their stuff.
Yeah. And so it's amazing, these fans that I have. And I'm very appreciative. And I always, try to create relationships with them. And there's some, that I talk to that live, across the nation. And and
they're driving over to see you, and they've
they
gotta lock your hair, and they've got
right? They're gonna murder me. Probably.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's part of the job.
I'll be the next Gabby Petito. It's fine.
We'll contact your ghost spirit, and you can tell jokes from the other side.
Yeah, there you go. Just whip out a spirit box.
Yeah, I would like to get a spirit box and a Ouija board and experiment.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
So have you were saying that you have been playing around with this AI art. What do you think of all that?
I love AI art.
Really? You're not afraid by it? A lot of people are scared by it?
No.
Do you think it's art?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I feel like it's art because it's a creative outlet, and anything that's a creative outlet is art.
Yeah.
So, but it's so hard. And I know there's like a lot of controversy surrounding AI art because people are like, oh, well, you really didn't do anything, this and that, and it's not your piece. I mean, technically it kind of is your piece because you put the prompt in there and created this. And
hit refresh until you got something you like, and then you got something you like, elaborated
AI,
it.
I mean, AI isn't art, it's an art.
Well, so who do you respect if you heard more, or like who would you respect in these two scenarios? Somebody who like took 20 years to become a master guitarist, or somebody who built like a dope sample using a bunch of, pre-recorded other people's, digital music versus acoustic? Like, to me, a lot of these EDM guys, a lot of these rappers and DJs, they can't play anything.
Yeah.
They don't even know how to read music or whatever.
Yeah.
But they create sounds that are amazing.
Exactly. And I feel like the platforms are so different because it's hard to do what DJs do. Like, I've tried it. Music theory is a big thing that plays into that. You have to understand that.
But do they understand it technically, or do they have like, they're just choosing a sound that they like to hear? There's a lot
to it though, because I have a lot of friends that are DJs, and I've sat down with them and they're like, it's a whole process.
Technically it has to be, right?
It's ridiculous how much goes into that, and people don't really realize that. And I didn't realize that before, and I was like, oh wow.
But I've tried a little bit where like I have like an Ableton and you have like the drum pad, and you can wire those up to like this drum and that guitar, and then you could be like boom 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 boom, whatever. You can come up with a little beat. You're like, oh, I like how that sounds. Now put it on repeat. Now add this and layer it up. And I can see how, like, if you spent years and years doing that, you'd get really good at that. Now, what if you just get an AI to be like, take this beat and elaborate it with this, and let you hum it into the phone, or somehow you like,
oh my gosh,
you know,
crazy.
Yeah.
That's,
We haven't seen AI music yet.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if there's AI music out there.
Oh, there's a Netflix special where they have like a full comedian that's like CGI and generated.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they already have it, or if that's going to be like the next big thing, because AI is just...
It's taking over.
It's taking over.
The thing that I just cannot stop thinking about is you can ask GPT anything. Anything. It knows everything. It knows everything there is.
Should we ask some
Let's
questions?
ask it something. Here, I'll bring it up. Was that working?
Yeah, I did close it. What is it?
Chat.openai.com.
I've never played around with this. I'm so stoked.
Okay, what's a good question? What are we curious about today?
Did Bush do 9/11?
Okay. Well, I mean, it can't give definitive answers.
Oh, okay.
And it does sometimes give misinformation, but not a ton. It only
I'm just curious to see what it's
trained...
going to say.
Okay, let's see. Did Bush, what was it?
Do 9/11.
Do 9/11. It's also AI is such a sandbagger. It's like, well, as an AI, I can't really blah, blah, blah. All right. The 9/11 terrorist attacks were carried out by a group of individuals affiliated with the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda.
There you go.
So they're saying that as a fact. The U.S. government reported on the attacks, and the 9/11 Commission found no evidence of involvement by George W. Bush. Of course it would say that. It's just reading Wikipedia.
Oh, okay. Well, there you have it. Conspiracy theorist.
It's not going to be able to like handle conspiracies, but anything factual. Like if you have a question about like just a fact, you know, science, technology.
Okay. How about you ask like a question and then I kind of.
Okay.
We'll come up with something.
What is a star made of? Let's see. I already know the answer. It's hydrogen.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff. Okay, now we're getting delayed. I want like the paid version where like I never hit a chat delay. I can open like 20 prompts at the same time.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I think they'll get there, but my chat is frozen. I'll tell you what it is. It's hydrogen and helium and all these other things.
Yeah, all these wonderful things.
Yeah. Space stuff.
Space.
They say we're Stardust.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like,
you know what I read the other day, and I confirmed with AI, it's coming in, is that there's, I think, trillions of dollars of gold dissolved in the ocean. In fact, all of the elements are dissolved in the ocean.
Yeah.
And if we could just figure out how to harvest those, we'd have like unlimited resources.
I don't know. Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, only 5% of the ocean has been discovered.
Yeah.
There is no telling.
That's also what's so crazy about the ocean.
No telling. And that's kind of like the conversation we had earlier about like science, about like how scientists really don't know. I mean, yeah, because I mean, look at the ocean. We don't even know what's
there could be some stuff down there.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure there is some stuff out there that we can't comprehend.
Could be there. I mean, there's definitely stuff like Atlantis. There's definitely buried cities and lost
for sure,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
A star is primarily composed of hydrogen, helium, with trace amounts of other elements like oxygen, carbon, and iron. The process of nuclear fusion at a star's core converts hydrogen into helium, blah, blah, blah. That's how stars are.
Cool.
But yeah, like anything that you have a question on, like the other day, like my diet right now is keto.
Okay.
And so it's like steak and eggs is basically most of what I'm eating. And I remembered the first time I did keto, I was running into like some mineral deficiencies, all self-prescribed or whatever. I don't actually know.
Yeah.
But so I was just like, what would be some good supplements to take on this? And it's like, well, generally, if you're eating high protein, low fat, no carb, here's the mineral deficiencies and here's the supplements you can take. Yeah. And like, you know, I mean, crazy. I think it knows. I think it really does know.
It knows. Yeah. It's always watching.
It is.
That's funny.
It's always learning. It always is learning.
And that's the crazy thing. It's kind of like space, how space is always expanding.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a scary idea too.
That is scary. Like I've sat down and I've like tried to comprehend space. Like I've had panic attacks just trying to understand.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I used to have like this kind of panic attacky feeling when I would consider what came before the Big Bang.
Yeah. Like how did all of this come to be?
Yeah, they say there's a singularity and that everything is compressed in one, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's just, you know, it's the same as saying a miracle. It's a miracle. You know, it's like, well, that doesn't explain anything.
No, it doesn't. But I mean, it's like the same with death. You know, what happens after we die?
What happens? Tell us. You've had some experiences.
I've had some experiences, but like I don't know. I have a fear of dying, and it's because of when I was shot, and I associate pain with death. That's why I'm freaked out about it. But nobody knows. Nobody knows what happens until you close your eyes and you draw your last breath. And I think that's the thing that really freaks people out. Yeah. And I mean,
and they all want to believe that somebody knows.
Yeah. If there is life after death, you know, we're not going to experience that until, you know, we meet our demise. But given my back history with the paranormal, you know, it makes you question, because if you're experiencing these phenomenons, you know, if you're catching these voices, if you're catching these figures, if you're seeing stuff move, like
there's got to be other worlds.
What? Yeah. Is it just energy? Like, because I mean, our bodies are just shells. We're just made up of energy, and after we pass away.
Do you think like that's dispersed. A theory of consciousness, that we're receiving consciousness from some beyond?
Possibly.
Could be.
I mean,
psychedelics will make you think that for sure.
And a lot of people have tapped into that through psychedelics. And I mean, there's a lot of our brains, like in our brains, that we can't really, you know.
I tend to think it's all just happening inside of our heads. And, you know, like I like the idea of panspermia. Have you heard of that?
Sounds familiar.
It's just that life evolved somewhere in the universe once. Mm-hmm. And then through like these asteroidal impacts and various cosmic events, that seed of life was jizzed out, spread out into the universe, and made more life, basically. Okay. And so because like it does seem so inexplicable that we could be the only things in the universe that can consider the universe and then talk about it. Yeah. Nothing else can. There's even animals. Animals are pretty close to us, like especially mammals, you know, like, but they're not talking about it. No. We're the only thing. I like this quote that a physicist is an atom's way of thinking about atoms. Like humans are the only thing that can consider the universe that is them. And it just seems too unlikely that we would like be a one-off, you know? Yeah. Seems more likely that this is like evolved process that happened over billions of years, many, many, many times. And then that kind of makes you believe in aliens.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is that the universe is so massive that
it has to be something.
There has to be something out there.
Yeah. Whether or not they're here and it's Men in Black, I don't really believe that. But I would love if that was the truth. And, you know, ghosts, aliens, anything. Come. Yeah. I'm like the guy. I will hang with a ghost, a demon, anything. Yeah. Let's freaking party. Now, what I'm terrified of is some sick person being like, I'll make them pay for saying that. You know, like being like, oh, I'll show you demons. Yeah. That's not what I want. I want a real demon, not a person demon.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
Yeah. We'll have to go ghost hunting.
Let's do it.
See what we can conjure up. But yeah. I know some spicy spots.
Well, it's what we were talking about, where you get all the energy concentrated in one place, and that can leave an imprint.
Yeah, that was an asylum, I believe. Oh. At one point, or something like that. But
well, let's bring this one home. How do we find you? Do you have anything coming up that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. It's going to be at Chloe, CHLOEATLE.
Slide into her DMs.
Slide in my DMs. Yeah, but I post when I do my shows. I don't post a lot of my skits though on my Instagram because my humor is a little more edgy and dark, and I don't want to get canceled and banned. So if you want to see me live, you're gonna have to see me in person. And I'm also about to launch a business and a podcast. So the business is called The Little Darlin Designs. I've put a few little sneak peeks on my Instagram. It's naughty designs.
There you go.
And then my podcast is Austin City Losers, and that should be dropping pretty soon. I'll be posting that on my Instagram as well. So
well, I love everything you're doing, and so jealous that you got to be on stage with Tim Dillon.
Oh, that was amazing. He was great.
I hope you get a million more opportunities like that.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All right, see ya.
Bye.